G'day, Coit here. I'm doing up a little video to show a test build I've done for the last update to casters. I've taken an Eldritch Knight fellow I had that's done 2 wizard lives. He hasn't done any racials, he hasn't done any ETRs, and I've given him his 3rd life as a cleric. You can see here I've gone with the Domain of Fire and the Divine Disciple Light Casting Cleric. They've made quite a few changes to the SLAs and the strength of the SLAs, and I believe that it's now possible to create a casting cleric that can get through a dungeon without running out of spell points constantly and do enough damage to make some of these sorks look a little bit green with envy. Now I've gone with the Aasimar Scourge because I wanted to start at level 15 to get a good idea of how it would perform straight away. This guy has had a +8 Supreme Tome, but that's it. No enhancement tomes, racials, etc. So very basic character, something that somebody could build as a fairly new player. You can see that we've got some nice additions to the cleric spell book with the setup. You get your Sunbeam, your Sunbolt, you've got Firewall as an SLA, you've got quite a few nice fire spells as SLA, and in the fire domain you get a couple of benefits. Your light spell power or your fire spell power, whichever one is the higher of the two, will get used for your light and fire spells. So you can just load up on your light spell power, your radiance, and be good to go for everything. Now here's a picture of the enhancement tree at level 15. So if anyone wanted to duplicate this, it would be quite easy. Unfortunately, I made a boo-boo with my +1 lesser, and this guy still has a ranger life as an Aasimar Scourge. That's not intentional. I will be sorting that out in 3 days when I can have another go at it, but these things happen when you're in a hurry and you want to try something out. You can see the spell power there. The light spell power, of course, is maxed, and his crit chance and crit multipliers there are up as far as they can go without any special gear. Now I'm going through the gear list here. It's pretty much Shan all the way with some Kenneth Craft stuff thrown in to fill in the gaps. So there's no legacy green steel or anything like that that a newer player may not have. There are a couple of old raid items in there. I think it was from VOD and the Hound maybe. But they're actually quite easy to solo these days on a high level character and pick that loot up if you really wanted to have it. There probably are better items in the game in that slot, but I threw this together really fast. I just wanted to see how it goes and threw stuff out of his account. Now he's running the Flame Cleansed Fury set bonus because I thought that would be the most appropriate. You've got Fire Force alignment and some nice crit chance, additions to wisdom, additions to DCs, because of course this is going to be a DC casting cleric and is going to be spamming his SLAs as cheap kills instead of melee, so that he doesn't have to dilute his spellcasting abilities to solo effectively. Now you can see that new SLA is, or not new, but the power of it now after the update is actually usable for taking out small mobs. Your Searing Light's extremely strong, as is your little fire SLA there. It's actually pretty strong too. So I've just run around in the Vale for a little while. What's coming up after this is it's all well and good to go into a Slayer area. We know that's cheap kills, and that's not going to test the character out at all. So I've jumped into a solo Giant Hold Elite quest at level. So as a level 15 character, it's a 13 on Elite, which is level 15, to see how it actually performs in quest. Now there's a couple of feats you would have seen there to take care of his damage reduction. He actually has shield mastery and improved shield mastery, and later on in the piece he will be taking tower shield proficiency. Again, I'm going to have embolden, I'm going to have intensify, I already have heighten. I will probably squeeze quicken in there. Actually, I think I squeezed quicken in at 18. I don't seem to have taken much of a hit. You can see what I'm trying to do there is I'm trying to actually turn an elemental. Part of the fire domain allows you to use your turn ability to take out elementals, which will be extremely handy when you come across fire elementals later on, where your fire SLAs may not be or will not be very effective. The ability to turn them becomes pretty good. As a follower of Helm, you get a nice little clicky, which you would have seen earlier. Gives you a good boost to your wisdom, which of course boosts your DCs. The higher your level, the longer that goes for, and the less of a problem the cooldown on that ability becomes. I'm using a Moon Guard there. You know, it's got that great effect on it where enemies get the no save stun. And with your bastard sword proficiency, which comes from being a follower of Helm, there's some nice bastard swords in the game that you can pick up later. So that's a nice little demo in the Vale. I've kind of got the hang of that. I'm like, okay, I'll do a little bit more. What I used to find on casting clerics was the spells were quite expensive. Blade barrier becomes less effective as you go up in the levels. Grouping them up and running them through a barrier was king up until level 20, but it really doesn't cut it later on. And we've got some improved AI from the old days where they won't just stupidly run through the barrier for you. You get a lot of outlying people that will just sit on the fringes and pretty much wait for it to go away and then come after you. So these new SLAs are actually more effective as far as that goes. You've got your usual little problems. You need a bit of distance on you and on your victim because lag. Yeah, lag's great. So as I was saying with the damage reduction, this character gets quite high MRR and PRR as it goes on due to the shield mastery, improved shield mastery, and your tower shield proficiency. DCs are okay. You can see I can land a destruction quite easily. Later on, of course, my implosion will be quite handy. Only thing there is you may want to go Dark Divine Disciple if you want to concentrate on that stuff later, and that certainly is a viable option. It's something I may explore later with the harm spells and the ability to spam those as SLAs. I'm pretty sure that will be equally effective, if not more so. But I did want to try out the light side of things with the fire domain because I thought that was a great synergy. The cleric's friend there, your soundburst stun, always good for holding things. I'm also carrying a paralyzer at the lower levels, just great stuff. And a can of crafted bastard sword in case I have to actually hit something. Commands work quite well on a lot of these guys. And it lines them up for cheap kills. Extremely cheap casting with these SLAs. We're talking just a couple of spell points a pop. So you can one-shot your way through dungeons on the SLAs, save your mana for the end, and then dump in a similar fashion to how your Pale Masters get it done these days. So we're almost ending the section where I'm kind of getting the hang of it. Yep, there goes the little boost from the helm. I could have crafted some insightful stats on this guy, but didn't want to waste the materials, to be quite honest. I thought it was strong enough at level 15 to just go with +8s in the slots and live with it. And I don't like crafting on my level 15 Shan gear because I feel like it's a waste of mats. And yes, we're celebrating. We've got a casting cleric that doesn't run through its whole mana pool to kill half a dozen things. So I'm kind of excited about that. And now we're going to move on to Giant Hold, where I've jumped into Trial by Fire. I've just taken out the first two guys. This is an elite dungeon, so this is a much better indication of how it will go. And I take advantage of some of the SLAs that I didn't use in the Vale. These guys have a little bit of a problem with fire, the trolls. So, of course, I'm going to go ballistic with that. As I was running through here, I kind of had old bad habits where you gather everything up and throw them into a blade barrier. You'll see me do that. But then I wanted to avoid that because the whole purpose of this is to showcase what the new SLAs can do instead. So this is just a straight run through, not quite a Zerg, but I'm not playing around with any side quests, extra chests, breakables or anything like that. I just wanted to run through and get it done and get a feel for how much damage the character would take with a buckler on and a stick in her hand to boost her impulse. And as you can see on Elite, she's really not taking much in the way of damage there at all. It's not bad because dead clerics don't heal. Oh, on the healing side of things, from what I can gather, this character probably will not be taking much of a hit to its healing. The heals will still be extremely strong. You do miss out on the aura, but I actually find a lot of casting clerics these days aren't using the aura that much. It's actually fairly weak. Everybody's using their renewals and their cocoons, and they've got their past lives, and there's other cheap ways to heal that really make Radiant Servant just not as attractive to me these days, and you sacrifice so much to get it. So yeah, that's a lovely little mini AoE, that SLA. It's a really cheap cast. I think it's like 7 spell points. Somebody forgot to carry their cure disease pots, didn't they? And I haven't loaded it as a scroll, so we'll just throw a lesser resto on and continue. So yeah, those light spells are pretty effective, and the Inferno SLA is actually bloody effective, as you can see. You're only left with cleanup work, which if you were smart, you'd probably use your little alignment mini, that one, to clean up after your Inferno, and then move on. So I'm not going to bleat on too much more. If you want a breakdown of the build, I do have this put into a planner. I can do a forum export. I don't know that anyone hasn't thought of this yet. I'm pretty sure plenty of people are already using it. But it was something that I thought about the day that we saw the changes, proposed changes, get listed and then put up on Lemania. The first thing I thought of was, my God, I'd love to play a casting cleric again if it's viable. And from what I can see here, I think it might be an actual viable build, a way for you to get your 3 cleric lives, which is what I'll be using it for on this fellow. And maybe even an end game build, a final build, if somebody does have their 12 caster lives and whatever else, their racials, and God knows, 7,000 hours of game time invested in the character, it may actually still be a viable end game build. I'll be putting up further posts as this character levels. I will be leveling it a little bit over the next few weeks. Yeah, it's lovely to be able to insta-kill that bloke on Elite like that with an SLA. I thought that was fantastic. And then clean up work right there. Beautiful. Really nice to be able to do that again and not have no spell points left, which has always been the problem for me on a casting cleric. And the SLAs were so bloody weak, I don't know, it just wasn't worth trying out, which is why I've been playing melee clerics for quite some time now, but this might be fun. Alright, so I'm not going to blab on. If you want to watch to the end of the quest, the video does go to the end of the quest, but my blabber about it is going to stop. Again, if you like the video, you know what to do. That intro, of course, which may seem a bit weird, is my attempt to cross over people from the gaming into the original music part of the YouTube channel. Check it out, guys. There's some funny stuff there. If you're into music, or you're a guitarist or an instrumentalist of any type, you might find some of that interesting, and there are some funny videos, very Australian stuff. If that sort of thing tickles your fancy, check it out. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you to concentrate on the end fight. That's it. You all have a good one. Coit out.